Imagine building a cathedral, not just a building, but a sonic monument where every brick is a masterpiece, every window is a prism of impossible light, and every arc defies the laws of musical gravity. Now imagine that every time you finish the roof, the architect quits, the choir leaves in a fury, and the lead mason burns the blueprints. Most bands break up once. They burn out, they fade away, or they explode in a single spectacular legal battle. But yes, they didn't just break up, they functioned as a revolving door of virtuosos, a high-pressure chamber where the air was too thin for even the world's greatest musicians to breathe together for long. This wasn't just a band, it was a psychological experiment in the cost of perfection. To understand why Yes constantly fell apart, we have to look at the gears grinding behind the curtain. We are tearing apart the friction between the spiritual ambition of the cosmos and the virtuoso reality of the studio floor. This is a story of ego, technical obsession, and the illegal reinvention of a legacy. By 1972, Yes had achieved the impossible. They had weaponized the symphony. They were no longer playing songs, they were constructing environments. But inside the studio, the atmosphere wasn't spiritual, it was industrial.
Concentrate, I never really think about concentrates because you've got so many things to do. You're getting almost to not only a musical routine, but a mechanical routine.
It was cold, heartless precision, meeting messy, fragile human ego. This is where the first crack appeared, and it was the heartbeat of the band that felt it first.
That's, I mean, if I'm to be, I don't know what you think a progressive kind of musician is, but I think a progressive musician, what you're paying me to do is look into the future a little and try and do things on a drum kit that aren't being done today.
Bill Bruford, the man whose jazz-inflected drumming gave the band its sophisticated edge, was the first to realize the hidden text of this genius.
In front of me on stage, ever since I was a kid, those are the only four people I've played with, really. So I was looking to broaden out a little bit. I knew I could play close to the edge.
Imagine being trapped in a wooden box for 18 hours a day, arguing over the placement of a single snare hit or the duration of a bridge. To Bruford, Yes wasn't a band anymore, it was a factory. Once you've arrived at the point where you're just repeating yourself or sitting in one place because it's comfortable or expected, then there's the moment you move on. A place where the joy of creation had been replaced by the math of execution. Incredibly, and as testament to my ignorance, I paid handsomely to leave the group that I had co-founded. And he left for King Crimson.
But I hadn't a clue whether or not I could play with Robert Fripp in King Crimson. What would that be like?
At the height of Yes's success, he didn't just quit the band. Illegally, in the eyes of the industry, he escaped the machine that was starting to eat its own. Then comes the era of the wizard. Rick Wakeman entered the frame with shimmering capes and a rig of keyboards that looked like the cockpit of a starship. Tales from Topographic Oceans is like a woman's padded bra. The cover looks good, but when you peel off the padding, there's not a lot there. On the surface, it was a match made in prog rock heaven.
There's too much of it. If you wheedle out all the great bits, it's actually some very, very good music. But there's about 20 minutes in total of total and utter padding, which that's my view. And people sometimes forget that you can be in a band and be a fan as well. I mean, I was in Yes and I was a fan.
But the mystery of Yes is that the more perfect they sounded, the more miserable they became. To play music, you have to understand it. I didn't understand Topographic Oceans. That's why I hardly played on it. While the audience saw a wizard in sequined gold, the band saw a creative titan who was increasingly alienated by the sonic escalators.
Got the impression that people were desperate for us to come on for the encore and do Roundabout. That was the impression you got. That's why I left the band. Being in a band is give and take if you do it properly, and you have to be able to give as much as you can take, and I couldn't give anything to where the music was going, or very little.
During the recording of Tales from Topographic Oceans, the tension became physical, almost absurd. Wakeman famously ordered a curry and ate it on stage during a performance because he was so bored by the long, indulgent instrumental passages his bandmates were playing. We are close to the edge of spiritual awareness within the framework of the group, making music. This is the central friction of Yes, the spiritual and the often nebulous direction of vocalist Jon Anderson versus the virtuoso reality of his bandmates. When your goals are written in the stars, but your bandmates are looking at their watches, the structure cannot hold. It is a house built on shifting sand. But the most dramatic collapse, the one that still baffles historians, happened when the world thought Yes was already dead. In the early 80s, the band essentially committed a creative heist. I was excited to work with this new-sounding band. They didn't just return, they underwent a mutation so radical it felt like a betrayal. They became a pop-rock powerhouse with 19125. To the purist, this was the ultimate illegal move, using the brand name of a prog-rock legend to sell slick digital radio hits like Owner of a Lonely Heart. The mystery isn't that they changed, it's how they managed to survive the internal war that followed. Suddenly, you had two different versions of the band existing at the same time, fighting over the name, the legacy, and the very soul of what Yes was supposed to be.
Well, in those, a lot of the songwriting credits are guys getting all together and me saying, well, that's my song, and them saying, well, yeah, but you're in a band now, share, buddy.
It wasn't a band anymore. It was a franchise under siege by its own creators. We have to ask, why did they keep coming back? Why subject yourself to a revolving door again and again? The answer lies in the obsession. Each member was a master of their craft, and like Icarus, they were drawn to the heat of the sun. They needed the friction. They needed the impossible standards that only Yes provided. But that level of intensity is unsustainable. 20 members have cycled through this lineup. Dozens of albums have been built on the rubble of constant departures. Each new member brought a new texture, a new technical brilliance, but also a new set of ego-driven demands that would eventually lead to the next fracture. The story of Yes is a reminder that great art often requires a level of friction that the human heart isn't built to handle. It's a narrative of music forensics, looking at the debris of a career to see how the pieces were forced together. They gave us the cathedral, they gave us the close to the edge moments of pure, unadulterated musical bliss, but they lost themselves in the process. They were cogs in a machine that was always one rotation away from shattering. Yet they kept spinning because the music was the only thing that mattered. As we look back at the wreckage of their own many lineups, the mystery remains. Was the music great because of the fighting, or in spite of it? Perhaps the illegal truth is that you can't have one without the other. You can't have the light of the cathedral without the darkness of the labor. The constant falling apart wasn't a failure of the band, it was fuel for their fire. Thank you for watching, stay curious,